Hey, what's up, guys? October continues. Or should I say Shocktober? All right. I saw this in the Barnes and Noble. I was like, what is this? And then I looked and I saw it's a horror hound. And I don't give horror hound enough credit. I know I'm always on the Rue Morgue, but a horror hound is they deserve they are good. They are a pretty good horror magazine. They sort of they have really good layouts. I keep talking about the layouts all the time. It's like I'm layout obsessed, but the they tend to focus on like a lot of, I call them like tchotchkes, right? A lot of like toys and little bobbleheads and the very material things, which I'm really not big on, but it's sort of not it's sort of not fair. This is basically probably the most tuned into the actual like horror fan that you have, the person going to the convention, the person putting down money for stuff. Unlike guys like me who are cheapskate jerks, but this wasn't cheap, right? I'll tell you. But it's fine. It's I recommend this if you see this. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing. I want you to get it. Like stuff like this, they'll do themes, right? The art of horror and music. Look at that. Oh, Eddie, Eddie. No, not that Eddie. So, now, now look at this. I love this. It gets scary in the Sunshine State. They're having some kind of, I guess, convention in Florida, in Tampa. Wow, the West Coast. I'm more familiar with that. Look at the thing, man. I told you, man. Florida has a lot of atmosphere. I know there was some horror film they were making a couple of years ago that was shot in like one of the the parts of Florida that you don't see. Right? It actually has a lot of there's enough crazy, violent things going on in Florida, but there's an atmosphere, man, to all the the vegetation. But enough. We're focusing on this now. When I saw this and I read through it, and particularly this writer here, this guy did a pretty good job. A lot of the writing, and I'm not saying the guy, it's what you're gonna do with Halloween in terms of history. It was very evocative of. I had done a video of these the late David J. Scott. Remember, Death Makes a Holiday, and of course the Nicholas Rogers book. These books came out the same year, 2002, the Halloween season. Very similar books to each other, and you get the same here. You get the whole history of Halloween, and with these awesome, like I said, a lot of the imagery of Halloween in the 20th century comes from these postcards, and you're gonna find out in future vids there's a country involved making a lot of these postcards and making a lot of the actual early, you'd say, accoutrement of Halloween actually are from Germany. I didn't realize it. That's very strange. A country that doesn't really celebrate it, although if you look into anyway, more on that later. But you always get like the cool. I love the old postcards. This is where your Halloween imagery begins, pretty much. And in terms of the history, it's like I said, it goes very similar. It covers the similar things of it, the ancient world in Europe, how the church, kind of assimilated it. It usually did. The original, obviously, the Puritan, the Protestant Revolution did not. Uh, you get to, of course, the 20th century. You get to the war. You get to arts and crafts. You get to the horror films. You get to the violence, right? You get to the queer part of it. They always mention the queer impact on Halloween, which I wonder about. You got these things. They actually look how cool that is. Apparently, these go for a lot of money, and I remember this, man. I remember this. So yeah. Oh, it looks like America. Oh, look at these evil costumes. It looks like America now, though, doesn't it? Except it's not a costume. Oh yeah, look at the broads. Hey, what are you doing there, buddy? Um, uh, UNICEF. I remember my mother actually trick or treated for UNICEF. So, and so the writer explains. I like here. He goes, even when the writer was a child in the '80s, so this guy's probably my age. Right? Halloween is still a night where older kids went and performed vandalism. Now I told you the vids I did on my Halloween memories. I told you when I grew up when I was a little kid, it was the little candy and the a lot of uh, you know the decorations were cool, but out in the night there was you can say vandalism. There was outright violence going on, and it only got worse as the '80s went on into the '90s. I told you about incidences, bricks getting thrown at you, people getting slashed, stomped, and beat up, by gangs of youths, these mysterious youths, like they're like phantoms. uh, but I like how he also, he brings up what I brought up, that I had a lot more fun when I got older, when it was more of like a teenage adult like party holiday. Now he also brings up something you see here: the fall festivals being held in place of Halloween. Now, just like he says, secular groups. Now, obviously, the secular groups that do this, they don't want to offend anybody, whereas I always remember in Pennsylvania, in particular, the Christian element, where it was. I remember when people would say, "Oh, that's Satan's holiday. That's the devil's holiday," right? Sort of proving the point of, unfortunately, the people that I mostly didn't agree with. Right? I mean, the people telling me that weren't, they were actually decent people, but they actually thought that Halloween night was like the devil, right? The devil's holiday, a pagan holiday. And talk about of course, the pumpkins. Actually, yeah, he makes a good point. Originally, of course, where this came from, they used like turnips, right? And radishes, beets, right? And if you ever look at those, they have some of those old little jack o' lanterns originally from from Ireland and Scotland. Yeah, they're pretty scary looking. They're a little more terrifying. The pumpkin is like a big jolly old thing. So of course, the pumpkin is a Native American vegetable. I had to like really grit my teeth to say Native American. So, yeah. Oh, look at all Woolworths thing. That's what I like about it. This is layout wise, Horror Hound is actually really good, and they did that here. So recommended. Party till you die. Of course, the party night, the American Carnival, right? Yeah, the mayhem of the 19th century, right? Although costume parties come out of that, it seems to be like, oh, they didn't have costumes until the gay community. It made it, was this, the bitches, oh, gay Christmas. I've heard of that, right? In Philly, yeah, Philly, you'd be surprised. It was kind of funny in Philly. You had a lot of these drag queens that would make these parades, apparently, in the goon city of Philly. So, of course, the guys dressing up as chicks was a feature of the biggest thing, the Mama's Day parade back in the day. You should have seen some of the things they did. So, and those were mostly straight dudes. But anyway, right, Halloween. Okay, now of course, what is the backdrop is, right? Halloween. They're no longer what they once were. They mentioned the trunk or treat phenomenon. Oh, dude! I just used to. I never was in the Spookorama. I was too scared. I passed this thing throughout my childhood so many times. That thing scared me, man. The Cyclops and the Spookorama. So, yeah, the haunted house is very interesting. The ones with the little the little car that would go through the rails and you come over here. But yeah, oh man, how many times? Anyone remember this? Any of my New Yorkers? Anybody there? So. Remember that, and also the decoration. I remember all the decorations. Right, they were just cardboard, very cheap. You buy them, and people would just put them up in the windows. They would either tape them up or hang them up with string. I mean, obviously it was everything was better in the '70s and the '80s. Yeah. It's just funny too. Although there is I didn't even know this had a name, right? So that's how much. You see these things everywhere now, man. The 12-foot giant skeletons that you get at Home Depot or Lowe's. So they're called skelly. Now that's funny. If you're from New York, if you're a certain age, I guess I'm getting old. Remember the term skell? Like a skell was like a vagrant, disgusting bum, or low life street person. You would call him a skell. So the cops used to say that all the time. But apparently, skelly now is this thing that you see everywhere, man. There's people that leave these skelly things up all year round and put like decorations on them for the different holidays. So I think a lot of them are rainbow people. But anyway, candy corn. What do you know about that? You don't have this. You European socialists, you liberals in Europe, you don't have candy corn, yo. You don't have that. And I always mention the old. They don't make them anymore. The old mellow cream, right? That was what it was called, mellow cream. And they don't make the ones they used to make the mellow creams with the little bats, the witches, the skull and crossbones. They don't make those anymore. They only got the candy corn, the Indian corn, I think, which is chocolate, and the pumpkins. Look at that. Oh, candy corn. What do you know about that? If you don't like candy corn, I can't say nothing to you. I can't talk to you. Halloween around the world. They mentioned the Chinese, of course, have their own, right? The Hungry Ghost Festival, which is usually in the summer. Makes sense. Now remember, especially China, right? Up in Asia, the ghosts. There's a differentiation between ghosts and, of course, their ancestors. Like the Qingming Festival in the spring is for the ancestors, but the Hungry Ghost Festivals, Asian culture, ghosts are almost. There's no good ghosts. Okay, it's not like Europe where you have ghosts that can help you, ghosts that are just there, and of course you have ghosts that can harm you. But in Asian culture, ghosts and spirits, they're all malevolent. I kind of like that. And of course, the Japanese have really taken to Halloween directly. They have Halloween things. They really just took to it, just like Christmas. They took to it, and could be why the Japanese. What about the Japanese? The honorary. Don't get into that. And here's what I'm talking about. Right now, this is the Hexennacht. Right? Is it Walpurgis night? Right? Beltane. Spring, is in full swing here. The eve of May Day. Right? And you got Saint Martin. Everyone forgets Martin Mass. Right? They have little lanterns in Martin Mass. So obviously, there's an old European tradition of like lanterns around this time of year. So, although I'm mentioning Germany, a purely commercial holiday, Halloween was introduced to Germans in a pinch, feeling the weight of losing the carnival season, right? Because remember, in Europe, the real dress up and have fun, decadent night is carnival. Well, night, the whole season. Americans only pick one day. Oh, we're so efficient. In Europe, it's a whole week or more. Those socialists. So hey, Germany is already our slave. America pushed the Halloween on them. There you go. So, anyway, of course, Walpurgis night, the night of the witches. Now, it's witch positive, man. F that. The only thing you can do with a witch is burn her. All right, that's my Calvinist side. Of course, Varg is mad at me. They were midwives. I know that. Come on, man. Of course, remember in the end of the day. Halloween, right? The eve of what? It's an eve, right? It's an eve of, right? All Saints Day, which, you go to any Catholic cemetery, you see that. So the Mexicans do that a lot. Of course, the Mexicans. I will say, and this is going to get people mad at me, I like having more Day of the Dead stuff. I like them pushing Day of the Dead. It extends the days of it, and I like this stuff, man. Always, I like it. I mentioned to the mums. Anyway, Count Chocula. That came out in 70 what? I keep saying, let's put marshmallows in the thing. They got the music. I want to kind of end this vid. Not too long. I want you to get this. Yeah, of course. I'll end it with the mask. Of course, this is the layout, right? This is how Horror Hound is. They lay out all this stuff, and they spend like literally a third of the thing on masks. But these Ben Cooper, I didn't know what they were called when you're a kid. All us kids from the time, this was like, you get the mask, you get the little costume thing, right? It was a rubber band. They would cut your eyes, like your eye, it would hurt, like you would put them on, and like the ridge would come in. It would cut your face. It's funny. There was a name for this process. Rubber band. It literally was a rubber band on you, and a smock. Now it's a big. Now they make new ones, right? They make retro ones for the Gen Xers that still have they have some money. So trying to squeeze it out because. I've seen some of these in the comic store I go to. They have some of these. They're pretty pricey. So, right, we need to get the money out of it. The demographics are shifting. European Americans are dying off. Halloween, right? You don't know much about Halloween, do you? Oh, yeah. Still the classic. Anyway, end this up. If you want to map all you Europeans with these haunted attractions, which I actually don't like these things. I have no desire to go to any of them unless, if somebody really wants to go. But I'm not really a big fan of these things. I prefer the little homemade ones or the ones that used to have, like, places like Knoebels or Dorney Park, from Pennsylvania. But you can see, they have the map here. This is just a fraction of it, of these, I guess, these haunted things they make up. So, and the Penhurst Asylum, it's amazing that they did that, man. A place where you actually had a lot of human misery and you make light of it. Oh, like a horror film. Now, usually I'm not that guy. I'm usually not that guy. Okay, but I do have, I'm offended. No, I have respect. I have respect for people who have suffered, and to make light of it by making what was an asylum into like a haunted attraction. I don't know. Maybe I'm feeling. I don't know. You know what? I mean, I guess I am being hypocritical on an honor. All right. Oh, it ended up. Oh man, had to. I always say made for TV Halloween, right? They mentioned all the ones. Although I didn't. Oh, Devil Dog, the Hound of Hell. Remember Richard Credit when the dog starts making him put his hand into the lawnmower. Remember that? Don't be afraid of the dark. I told you about that one. Dark Night of the Scarecrow. Bubba didn't do it. Told you about that one. The Midnight Hour. Yeah, I thought she was cute, Shia Belafonte. I know. You're like, whoa, being thrown out of the party now, right? But The Midnight Hour, man, this movie was crazy. This is a recommended film if you watch it online on YouTube or something. It was a crazy movie, right? It's basically, let's make Michael Jackson's Thriller a movie. So remember you had the good ghost, remember, to try to save them. So anyway, recommended. Oh, Vampire. Oh, they never made a show. All right, enough. You gotta get away. Oh, Saturday Night Live. This stupid ass show. Although, right, season 13, right, the golden age, the 80s and 90s is when it was good. All the people I remember: Dana Carvey, Phil Hartman, rest in peace, Dennis Miller, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, Dana Carvey. You had to get all these things. Leona Helmsley, they did one. Only New Yorkers will remember her, right? Oh, taxes for the little people, remember? They tried to demonize this woman. In hindsight, you know what? I don't believe anything now. She probably was a good woman. She probably pissed off someone. So it was very page 6-ish. But, of course, Halloween, Saturday Night Live sucks, man. All right. But this does not suck. Get this. This was awesome. Good job, man. Good job. So